out.
Do you want to open those?
Yeah.
Okay, got
I go looking, they're not in the trash can.
Gee.
Didn't you say we could take them home?
Yeah, the media or the Luria broth will probably go bad for you, but the
Don't we have to pipe it, cut it too?
yeah, you'll need to.
Do you want to do that?
What is this, 250 or?
No, you just have to squish it to make it real mucky.
Sucking in and out, the resistant.
Now, we put 100 milliliters of this in there?
Sure, why not?
No.
What, this?
Yeah. Well, this.
Cross contamination.
That one? Yeah.
It's quicker.
Make it too.
I don't know what the name of the crystal is. Yeah, if you put watch your elbow here that I don't set you a phone.
Here.
We're gonna throw the culture out anyway, so. That was the other plate for the initial start, that didn't take too much. Set up. Let's see, we got the things in the water bag. Okay. Put some of the fruit flies. Now, the one thing we could take a look at is our sketch up here in terms of what we were expecting to see as far as the growth goes. You know, as far as the responses. Okay, so if we have the normal cells and we're putting them on the ampicillin minus plates, we're going to get the growth. And if we were taking the normal cells, we put them on the ampicillin plus plates, we're going to get what?
Clear.
Clear, okay. Ampicillin-resistant cells that we put on the ampicillin minus plates will get growth. But if we take these ampicillin-resistant colonies, we get colonies, and what will those look like in the plate? You have those little dots of them. So that's what we would expect to see with these. We would get lots of these little growths across here, right? Right, okay. Now, what's the difference between this grouping and this grouping? It doesn't so much kill it as it just prevents it from growing. Yeah. Now, one of the things we may see may get that type of thing showing up. Now, that usually doesn't show up immediately. It takes 3 or 4 days. So if we take a look at them tomorrow on air, we'll be able to see, hopefully.
You didn't expect this when you came in today, did you?
Not really.
Okay, Al, go ahead.
Surprise. Would you tell me your name and spell it for me so we get it correct?
My name's Timothy Allen Cobb, Timothyallencobb.
Okay, and you're a senior
Yes.
at Indian Creek High School.
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans for next year?
I was planning on going to the Navy for nuclear power research and earn some money that way for college and med school.
Okay. Wow. That's so. Physician, is that where you want to go, or research, or?
Well, I was one or the other, either family practice or disease research.
Yeah, that's terrific. Tim, if you just kind of sit still,
I'm sorry.
because in the TV, all the audience are going to get seasick as they see you starting to moving back and forth. Tell me about your class. Tell me about the AP biology. How's it going?
Well, I think it's a kind of hard. You take a lot of notes and you have to read on your own because he just goes really quick, and if you miss a chapter, you're lost, and then you don't know what to say, what on the answers, and but I like lab days because that's when you actually get to talk with the instructor, because over most of the class days you don't really get to talk with the instructor because he's teaching a class and he can't really talk with you one-on-one while he's teaching a class.
So it's interactive, in other words.
Yeah.
You can talk back to from Indian Creek.
Yeah.
You can talk back to the professor who's here at Burris with the academy. What's the best part about this course, being able to take it down there at high school?
Well, the actual knowledge, getting an idea of what college courses are going to be like and what I expect from college.
What's the most exciting thing to you?
The idea of actually seeing extreme labs, getting a better knowledge of biology, how my body works, and what I do when I'm like asleep, without even knowing it, realizing it.
You've got some limited facilities at Indian Creek, I understand. So
yeah.
Without this course on TV, what would you be doing right now? Would you be able to do this course there at school?
No, definitely not, because with all the stuff they have here, we don't even have, for an incubator of bacteria, we were using cardboard box and lamps. So we are kind of pretty limited on our experimental equipment, such as that.
So when they said you have a chance to take a course, did you get to sign up for this course? Did you choose to sign up?
I chose to sign up, yeah.
Did you have to think about that, or did you jump right in?
No, I jumped on it.
Yeah, why?
Well, I wanted to expand in my biology, because being a med student, you'll need a lot of biology, and I'd already taken all the biology courses offered by our school, so I just wanted to go ahead and go into deeper biology.
Okay, great, Tim. Okay, great. Tell me your name and spell it for me.
Okay. Mr. Randy Lancaster, RANDY LANCASTER.
And you're a science teacher? Or?
AP Biology Facilitator, Indian Creek High School.
Okay, and that's your specific role at Indian
Yes,
Creek?
facilitator.
Okay. Explain that to me. What does that mean?
As a facilitator, our job is to monitor as much of the broadcast as we can each day with the kids. And one day a week, generally Tuesdays, there is no broadcast from Ball State, so that I can sit in there and clear up any questions that the kids have. So in that 45 minutes, that's the time that I really have them.
Where's the big benefit in having this class taught over television, to especially to Indian Creek, but to schools all over the state of Indiana?
Well, as we had alluded to before, our big advantage at Indian Creek is that we don't have to go out and purchase all the needed equipment to teach an AP course. It's under mandate from the state of Indiana that we teach AP biology in this year, and we're not close to having the equipment to run the 12 required labs that they offer. So versus trying to put together with stone knives and bearskin some lab materials, we opt to use IHETS.
And how are the students reacting?
Well, just as Tim had alluded to before, it's kind of a drag to sit and listen to a lecture for 45 minutes, 3 days a week. But to that I say welcome to higher education, because generally that's the way they're going to get taught in their freshman and sophomore year in some of the bigger universities. With lab days, I think the students really miss out on the hands-on portion of lab days. However, the analyses, the mathematics involved and the statistics involved in the lab analyses are very, very good.
Where would your science students be today were it not for this program?
Well, at this point, we would be struggling to put together an AP program, teaching generally out of the book to a handful of students, and on lab days, doing a lot of dreaming more than we are seeing. Here, at least with IHETS, we can see the lab performed. Without the materials, without gel electrophoresis, without spectrophotometry, and without all the different interfaces that you use off the computer, we would just have to dream and talk about it.
Great.
Have a seat and whenever you're ready.
Okay. You can just look right at me. Tell me your name and spell it for me carefully so we make sure we spell it right on the air.
Okay. Takia Phillips, TAKIYAHPHILLIPS.
Okay, and what year are you?
I'm a senior.
At Arlington
Yeah.
High School. Okay. Tell me about this AP biology course. What do you think of it?
It's hard, and it's not what I expected. I thought, well, because I was so good in biology, but then this just blew me away. It's on a college level, so I guess it's kind of preparing me for it. But it's all right.
How is it so much more advanced? What surprised you the most?
All the notes and the working you have to do on your own. You have to really read the book to get caught up in everything they're doing. That's what, gosh, and I'm so terrible at doing that.
but there must be a benefit to you. You must be realizing something.
Yeah.
We're
We're learning a lot. Like how your body works, different functions, and gosh, all those big words, what they use. And when they were doing the enzyme lab, and then we learned about how the when the potato turns brown or whatever, how fast that turns like that. And we learned lots of stuff. I think the lab is the best part of the whole thing.
You said it really surprised you that it was so difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but you were good in biology prior to taking this course.
Yeah.
What do you think of your capabilities now?
Work much harder because not the same.
So in other words, you're working a lot harder to keep up with this course on this level.
You have to. Mm-hmm.
What's your future? What are you going to be doing next year?
Actually, I wanted to go to a vocational school and learn a trade like dental assistant, medical assistant. So I'm not really using this for the college credits, just as to go over and have an understanding of what I'm doing before I go there.
Might this course change your mind? Might you go further? Might you look at college as
Yeah.
You think, are you looking seriously at that, or are you just thinking about it?
I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would keep you from not following that?
Well, I couldn't say lack of money because there's always scholarships and financial needs, but right now, I don't know. I probably just really want to learn a trade. I don't really believe in going to college anyway.
Tell me go back over the benefits to this course that are helping you learn so many things. Without being able to participate with it on television, do you think you'd be able to learn these things? Would your school be able to offer them without the IHETS program?
No, because for one, when we're watching it on the television, our teacher sometimes, he knows it, but certain things are new, so it's not like we could have someone to teach it to us, so we need this to really do it. And we don't really have all the equipment necessary to really follow along, so this really is necessary to help us.
So you're grateful to the
Yes.
Indiana Academy and the Burris program here for providing that for you.
Yeah.
What do your other classmates think about it?
God, the same way. The same.
Are they struggling?
Not as bad as I am.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
pull that sweater with seventh grade basketball. Seventh grade basketball sweater? That sweater. Don't show you. The problem is, it's large. I gained a little weight between seventh grade and the time you guys were freshmen. You guys haven't changed any, but I gained a little weight.
First part's real easy. If you just say your name and spell it, please. Go ahead.
My name's Ken Hitson, Hittson.
Okay, Ken, and what do you is it facilitator?
Yeah, I'm a physics facilitator for Shenandoah High School. We're working through IHETS and Ball State University and Indiana Academy.
Perfect, okay. Tell me a little bit about how it's received here as far as the AP Physics class.
We are just taking the regular physics class, the high school physics. We're not taking the AP at this point in time. The students come in to the classroom and they get to sit in and watch Mr. Don High teach the class from Indiana Academy, and they seem to like it. They work well with him and work well with me facilitating their classes and watch what's going on.
How does the interaction work? I mean, not exactly technically how does it work? How well does it work here?
Well, if they have any questions, they have a telephone that they just simply call, and they can connect with Indiana Academy in approximately, 6 or 7 seconds, and they just simply interrupt him whatever he's talking about and ask the question. And then he very attentively pays attention and answers their question, if at all possible.
Okay. Why do you take the class from IHETS instead of teaching it here?
Well, nobody at Shenandoah High School has a license to teach physics at the present time, and through North Central evaluation and through the state, this qualifies as far as our licensing program, and therefore they can take high school physics and qualify for scholarships and things like that for their colleges.
So this really is a benefit to the students, in addition to satisfying the state requirements, but it's a benefit to the students to allow them to have this course.
Yeah, without this course, they would not be able to take high school physics at Shenandoah High School. And a lot of these people are going into engineering and a lot of mechanically related fields, and without this course, they would not have the background in high school. They would be going into college having no background in physics at all.
Terrific. Anything else you'd like to add?
Can't think of any.
Okay, that's all. First part's real easy. Tell me your name and spell it.
Okay. Keith Lotzenheiser, Lautzenheiser.
And what year are you at school?
Senior.
Senior at Shenandoah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think about this taking class through television?
Well, it's not as good as if we had a real teacher, but it's okay. It's neat because we only have class 3 days a week, so you get 2 days to do whatever, I reckon.
How does it work? I mean, of course you'd rather have I'm sure you'd rather have a teacher here in person.
Yeah.
But I understand that it's the only way you get the class.
Yeah, it's not that much different really, because we can call in on the phone, or if we have questions, Mr. Hitson usually tries to answer them for us. So it's a lot the same really.
So have you taken any other courses through the television?
Not yet.
This is the first one?
Uh-huh.
And have you had the opportunity to call in?
Yeah, a couple times.
What's that like?
Well, most of the questions I've had have usually been pretty funny ones. You just push the button on the phone and talk into it like a regular phone, and then you're about a second delay and you can hear yourself on the TV. It's just like a phone call, really.
Works out pretty nice.
Yeah.
Are you planning to go on to college? How's this going to help you?
Yeah, I'm planning on going to college and majoring in some kind of science field. So this is helping me, where if we didn't have this program, I wouldn't be able to take physics at all. So this really helps.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add? The rest of your class, the rest of the people in the class enjoy it as well? Yeah,
I think so. It's fun because we can make jokes about the teacher, but he can't hear us.
Good, thank you. What, do you want to make a joke on camera? No?
We'll have a teleprompter in there that'll tell you your call is being processed, and then it'll tell you to go ahead with your call 30 seconds later, and then you just simply answer questions. Ask a question. Push the button just like a walkie-talkie, after you're done asking the questions.
What are you gonna ask, Troy?
Question 4.
Worksheet 15, number 4.
Continue our discussion of adding vectors after a nice long break. I hope the sites had an opportunity to catch up on some of the worksheets. This is lesson number 15. I'd like to review that a little bit before we go on to some of the applications. We were talking about adding vectors analytically rather than graphically.
Mr. Hahn?
Mr. Hahn? Yes, there's a question, please.
This is Charlie Keith from Shenandoah High School.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I have a question. On worksheet
Yes.
15. Number
And
4
worksheet,
on the back.
worksheet 15,
Yeah.
number 4, what is it about? I don't happen to have that copy with me.
It says two vectors having magnitudes of 5 and 8 that act on a single point cannot have a resultant with a magnitude of. And
Okay, we have, I'm gonna just sketch this. One has a magnitude of 5, and the other one has a magnitude of 8. Now, remember, we're not necessarily constricted to any particular direction. And we want to know what is the maximum or what is the minimum at value that these could have. If they're acting in the same direction, the sum of those two, which would be 13 units. The resultant would be 3 units. Could be the sum of those two vectors, depending upon their direction. So any choices that you have that is not between 3 and 13 would be the answer to that particular question. So if you had a choice of, say, 2 units, these couldn't possibly add up to be 2 units. Or these 2 vectors could not possibly add up to be, say, 15 units. Is that answering your question?
yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Test next Tuesday or Thursday.
I also want to remind the sites that there will be no live broadcast tomorrow. There will be no live broadcast tomorrow. Yes, you have a question?
Is this test we're going to have next week going to be our midterm?
Be your midterm, right? Any questions from any of the sites? Okay then, let's talk a little bit about components that are at right angles to each other, right? And usually we draw them in the X and the Y direction. So in this particular case, let's say the horizontal component or the X component of this particular vector, since this is a right triangle and this is the 30 degrees is the angle adjacent to the vector, this would be, okay? These are then what we call the rectangular components of that particular vector. Now, why are we concerned with the rectangular components? Well, when we go adding vectors together, we add up the rectangular components of that particular vector rather than is some angle. I'm going to use the Greek letter alpha. Now, I want to add these 2 vectors together. If we were doing it graphically, what would we do? We would move vector B, point of vector A, drawing it in the same direction. We just kind of sketch and draw that in the same direction, and the result would be a vector from the start of A to the end of B. That is how we add things up graphically. And let me draw the components of vector A. I'll draw this now again in a nice broad line. Components of vector A are these 2 components. This vector here is A times the cosine of the angle theta.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's not. So I can just. He is what?
Then we'll draw our coordinate system. You'll see this particular picture. I have
Shouldn't the line coming down from the x-axis be in a different spot than where you have it?
this one here.
Yes.
Yeah, what normally you probably draw it over here, but it does make, they're both the same vector, right?
Right.
Yeah. And we're adding to that vector B, which is the blue one, which is coming back in this particular direction, which is B, cosine theta.
Represents an unknown.
Okay, now we have to add up the y components, and that's going to be this particular vector here. B, remember, sine theta goes in the other direction, so that comes down that particular direction, where this is B, is going to be this particular vector here. I'm going to call this the sum of the x components, and this one is going to be the sum of the y components. So what I've done is added up those two vectors in the x direction. I've added up the vectors out off to the side. I'm going to draw another coordinate system here. I'm going to take this vector and put it over here and say this is the sum of the x components. This vector I'm going to add to the y components. The result then turns out to be that particular vector, which starts where the sum of the x components started.